everything you need to know about Saturday Night Live with John Schneider and James Stevens.
Welcome to everything you need to know about Saturday Night Live. My name is John Schneider from the Saturday Night Network.
And I'm James Stevens, and we're back exploring each season's cast members, sketches, characters, and backstage stories that have established SNL, a television institution.
So welcome to everything you need to know about Season 9 of Saturday Night Live. By the summer of 1983, critics felt that Eddie Murphy had saved SNL. With the success of 48 Hours and Trading Places, the show has a bona fide movie star in its cast for the first time in a while. Producer Dick Ebersol is eager not to lose his biggest star to Hollywood and offers Eddie a deal that allows Murphy to do the show on a part-time basis. On September 21st, prior to the start of the new season, a collection of sketches featuring Murphy were taped in front of an audience. Several of those pre-taped sketches would be added into the shows during Murphy's weeks off. The 9th season of Saturday Night Live premiered on October 8, 1983, with host Brandon Tartikoff, then president of NBC Entertainment. Tartikoff was known at the network to be a huge advocate of the show, and didn't give up on it during the challenging seasons. He was also dealing with Hodgkin's lymphoma, and was about to wrap up a round of chemotherapy. As a gesture of support, Ebersol brought in Tartikoff to live his dream as an SNL host.
We'll give you your own Saturday morning cartoon show. It'll be about you and your family. It's called The Murphs. And you see, they won't be blue, they'll be
black, right?
Right, see? Great.
I get it.
Danny DeVito returned to co-host the next episode alongside his wife, Rhea Perlman.
Two people get out here, it always sounds like they're, doing one of those award shows, like the Emmys or the Oscars, where they're reading those phony things off the cue cards, you know what I mean? Isn't that right, Rhea?
You're absolutely right, Danny.
Followed by SCTV alum John Candy. The episode marks the first for new cast member 29-year-old Jim Belushi, alum of the Second City and younger brother of former Not Ready for Primetime player John.
Bless me, Father, for I have sinned.
The hiring of Jim a year and a half after John had passed was very exciting for viewers who were fond of the manic energy John brought to the show and hoped that Jim would bring some of that Belushi magic.
I'm just nuts!
The next episode brings us Betty Thomas.
What we're talking about here is brainwashing.
The second host in a row coming from the Second City Chicago's famed 1973 cast, which included John Candy and Bill Murray. The episode aired two of the pre-recorded sketches filmed prior to the season, one of which is an iconic Eddie Murphy moment.
Teri Garr returned to host the next show, an episode that included two more Eddie Murphy featured sketches that were pre-recorded at the start of the season.
This is not what it looks like.
We are also treated to the first of 4 guest performances by Joel Hodgson.
I wear this to ball games and no matter where I have to sit, it feels like I'm right behind home plate.
Hodgson would later create the cult classic series Mystery Science Theater 3000. Comedy legend Jerry Lewis would host the next episode.
Am I nervous after 52 years?
An occasion that actually included Lewis on the list of writers in this episode's credits. The comedy luminaries continue as the Smothers brothers return to host for the second time.
Santa Claus is dead.
That's terrible.
Pardon?
That's terrible. That's rotten.
I didn't kill him.
I told you, I didn't say that. Once again, you succeeded in making a classic Christmas song trivial with a cheap joke.
Thank you very much.
A baseball-inspired cold open uses a rain delay premise to set up a running gag for the duration of the show, including cameos from Major League Baseball pitcher Tom Seaver.
Saturday Night Live has been on the air for 9 years now, and to the best of my knowledge, this would be the very first time they've been canceled because of rain.
And umpire Ron Luciano.
That's it. This stage is unplayable. Too much rain. It's off. It's off.
Comedian actor Flip Wilson would host the Christmas show, also celebrating his 50th birthday.
This is my birthday and Christmas present to you.
The episode features the debut of Gary Kroger's grumpy Walter character.
What do you mean you don't shine shoes? What do you do here?
I tie shoelaces.
You can't make a living tying shoelaces. People tie their own shoelaces.
Well, maybe you do, Phil. But Flip sees that I get by.
Flip?
Flip Wilson. Comes by here every day so I can tie his shoes.
We end the show with an acknowledgement to SNL's technical director, Heino Rip, who was leaving the show to direct the Lorne Michaels sketch series, The New Show, which would premiere in early January on NBC.
The New Show.
When the show returns from the holiday break, we will see more changes made to the show, specifically this Saturday Night News segment. Brad Hall, who had been anchoring it since the beginning of the 8th season, would be removed from the anchor chair during the hiatus.
The first episode of 1984 brings us the first time a fictional character hosts Saturday Night Live.
Don't push your luck.
When former writer and cast member Don Novello hosts as Father Guido Sarducci. The 1984 presidential primary is covered thoroughly through another phone-in vote.
Remember when we had the phone-in vote for Larry the Lobster? Of course you do. Nearly 500,000 of you called in and voted to save Larry's life. Then we had the Andy Kaufman vote, and you voted to kick Andy off this show forever. That was fun.
As was the case in the other phone-in to vote episodes.
It's the Saturday Night Live National Phone-In Democratic Primary.
Viewers are encouraged to call in to vote for their preferred Democratic candidate, with updates on vote totals given throughout the show.
It's all up to you.
Father Guido Sarducci, finding this particular poll rather boring, makes a nomination.
I'm going to put ZZ Top into the Democratic nomination. That's right.
At the end of the show, ZZ Top is announced the winner, beating runner-up Jesse Jackson by over 64,000 votes. With our phone-in Democratic primary, this episode leaves us without Saturday Night News, marking it a first for the show to not include a fake news segment. For the remainder of the season, Saturday Night News will become a revolving door of anchors. Next up, hosting for the 4th time, Michael Palin, this time alongside his mother Mary.
Wait there until I finish the monologue, all right? Terrific.
Rather than the introduction of a new Saturday Night News anchor, this episode simply features 2 guest commentaries. A sports report delivered by Joe Piscopo.
Finally, a decent Super Bowl!
And a science report delivered by Tim Kazurinsky, playing Dr. Jack Badofsky.
Japanese women experience menopause.
That episode is followed by host, legendary comic Don Rickles.
Remember what the Italians said in World War II? Run!
Rickles repeatedly goes off script, ad-libbing lines throughout the show.
I hope Eddie Murphy robs your house!
During his monologue, he roasts members of the studio audience.
Can I grab you by the legs? I want to dust.
Including former hosts John Madden.
I got news. The Oakland Raiders won the championship. You weren't involved.
And Brandon Tartikoff.
Is now the president of NBC. He's 11 years old, and you'll see him in front of the building go, "Somebody took my ball!"
The Witness relocation sketch is a further example of the kind of off-script insults Rickles spouts, causing the cast to break character.
If you're in trouble, you use one of these. My wife swears by it. A little toot, and you got all the protection you need.
Is that all it takes with the wife? A little toot, huh? I got a Jewish wife, lays in the bed, belching and wheezing and spitting up, and I never try to whistle.
Also notable, the Saturday Night News guest anchor era begins in this episode with our host at the desk.
Hold it down. Hell, lady, I'm doing the news.
Despite the ad-libbed nature of the host, the Don Rickles episode is critically acclaimed as one of the best episodes of Saturday Night Live and certainly a high point for the Ebersol era.
Making his hosting debut, comedian Robin Williams is up next.
You want fries with that?
A series of Budweiser Light advertisements that aired during this time lead to a very memorable parody featuring Piscopo and Williams mocking the Bud Light commercials.
The best you found it in yourself, and now you found it in the beer you drink.
And, as Don Rickles did in the previous episode, our host anchors Saturday Night News.
I'm so damn happy to be nominated to Cuts Through All the Bovine Residue in Hollywood.
Jamie Lee Curtis returns after first hosting in season 6.
It's all right, don't be nervous. I'm Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah, I know. My name's Rory, but you'll probably end up calling me El Dorco.
Joe Piscopo fills in for a sick Don Pardo covering the show's announcing duties, as well as serving as this week's guest anchor spot on Saturday Night News.
And now, Saturday Night News with tonight's anchor person, Joe Piscopo.
when broadcaster Edwin Newman hosts
News and booze.
The episode marks the final live episode for Eddie Murphy as a cast member.
I got to.
Eddy would continue to be featured in some additional episodes with pre-recorded sketches. A formal announcement would come out on March 3rd, 1984, that Eddy had left SNL to pursue rock and roll singing, as well as other motion picture properties currently in development. Comedian Billy Crystal hosts on St. Patrick's Day, becoming the first cast member to host prior to joining the cast.
My nipples are hard. This is unbelievable what's happening in this town.
Having performed once in the first season as a solo act, Billy takes advantage of the opportunity to demonstrate his talent for sketch comedy.
You tell anyone, and we'll kill you.
This episode would mark the debut of two of Crystal's iconic impressions on the show, Sammy Davis Jr.
Yeah, I flew in. Boy, is my eye tired.
And Fernando Lamas.
You look marvelous.
Who serves as guest anchor for Saturday Night News. Dick Ebersol is clearly impressed with Billy and will keep him in mind as the season comes to a close.
Plugging his film Romancing the Stone, Michael Douglas would host the next episode.
It's a tough job, but somebody's got to do it.
You'll recall Michael's father, Kirk, hosted back in season 5. With Eddie Murphy no longer an official cast member, and without any pre-recorded Eddie sketches on the rundown, Eddie Murphy is now removed from the opening montage. Next up, former South Dakota Senator George McGovern hosts.
I voted for you in 72. Well, thanks a lot. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey, George, you run for something?
Sure. 72.
Oh, Ken, what office?
President.
You win?
Eddie Murphy is added back into the opening montage as one final pre-recorded sketch is broadcast.
Why don't we just, the 5 of us, have a little party together?
Ooh, you are sick.
You're sick! There are some couples in this world that still believe that menage a trois is sacred. Where's the beef?
And Clara Peller of Wendy's Where's the Beef advertising campaign makes a few appearances in the episode.
What do you think about this campaign so far?
Where's the beef?
American actor Barry Bostwick hosts the penultimate episode of the season with musical guest fictional English heavy metal band Spinal Tap. Spinal Tap's performance of Christmas with the Devil was a broadcast premiere written specifically for the show and included an elaborate production design that was beyond what was typical of musical acts of the time. Prior to the performance, Bostwick interviews Spinal Tap in a pre-recorded video that includes Michael McKean, Christopher Guest, and Harry Shearer, all of whom will be a large part of SNL's future.
Why do you play so loud?
Mozart, what he would have done is when he played, he'd play keyboards. He would put his ear down to the soundboard and, really jam it in there, smash it. And his mum would go, Mozart, don't play loud. But he would anyway.
Guest comedian A. Whitney Brown performs a stand-up act 2 years prior to his regular Big Picture segments on SNL.
Only one thing that annoys me worse than a tailgater, a slow driver in front of me.
And Billy Crystal is back to anchor the news as Fernando.
Season 9 then comes to a close with a very memorable episode. Our finale brings us 5 hosts. Yes, you heard that correctly. Billy Crystal, Mayor Ed Koch, Edwin Newman, Father Guido Sarducci, and Betty Thomas. Newman returns to the Saturday Night News desk as anchor, and in one of Gary Kroger's most memorable pieces, a video dating tape becomes a Springsteen-esque rock video for nerdy oral surgeon Ira Needleman.
Hello, my name is Ira Needleman. If you're wondering why you should go out with me, well, I'll tell you.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4!
My name is Needleman. I'm an oral surgeon. I'm 31. I like Star Trek and Barbra Streisand, and I'm tired of being a virgin. My name is Needleman. And I'm tired of being a virgin.
This momentous finale brought the show its first Emmy nomination since the departure of Lorne Michaels in 1980. Despite the success of the season finale, the following season, the last of the Ebersol era, will feature many changes. Prior to the next season, Robin Duke, Brad Hall, Tim Kazurinsky, and Joe Piscopo would leave the cast, each of whom were underrated contributors to the restabilization of the show. Joe in particular led the cast in sketch appearances in seasons 7, 8, and 9, and was a major force with many recurring characters and impressions throughout his time at Saturday Night Live.
Me?
Saying that, it was time for a shakeup at the show, and as we enter SNL's historic 10th season, we'll see some recognizable faces join the cast in what many consider one of the best seasons of the show.
If you are enjoying this series, don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on social media to catch our posts on the sketches you need to watch from season 9 of Saturday Night Live.
Saturday Night Live season 9 is available now on Peacock. For all of us here at the Saturday Night Network, I'm John Schneider.
And I'm James Stevens. Good night.